Very good morning to you. Welcome to Breakfast with Dan Walker and Louise Minchin.
It's exactly 8 o'clock. These are your Wednesday morning headlines. Arise, Sir Tom. Captain Tom Moore is awarded a knighthood after raising £40 million for NHS charities.
We are live here with Captain Sir Thomas Moore, sitting, waiting to talk to you, to tell you exactly how he feels about receiving a knighthood.
Pressure grows on the government as at least 11 English councils say they have serious concerns about the phased reopening of schools on the 1st of June.
The jet engine manufacturer Rolls-Royce has announced this morning that it's cutting 9,000 jobs around the world. About half of the company's 52,000 employees work here in the UK.
From today, all adults in England will automatically be organ donors unless they opt out.
6 positive tests for Covid-19 in the Premier League as clubs return to team training. That is less than 1% of the total people tested.
Good morning, it's the 20th of May. Our top story for you this morning, the World War II veteran Captain Tom Moore, you just saw a little slice of him there in his back garden, is to be knighted for his fundraising efforts for NHS charities. This is after a special nomination came from the Prime Minister.
He walked 100 laps of his garden in time for his 100th birthday last month and in the process raised almost £40 million. Breakfast John Maguire has more.
His story has been a ray of light in these dark times. With the country and much of the world on lockdown, a family joke saw Tom Moore, who'd served as a captain in the Second World War, pledge to walk 100 laps of his back garden to celebrate his 100 years of life. His aim was to raise £1,000 for NHS charities after he'd been so well treated following a fall. As the steps increased, his story spread around the globe and his fundraising total smashed targets into oblivion.
It's amazing, and what I love also is that he's a 99-year-old war vet. He's been around a long time, knows everything, and it's wonderful that everyone kind of is being inspired by his story and his determination. So I think he's a one-man fundraising machine, and God knows what the final total will be. But good on him, I hope he keeps going.
That I think is absolutely amazing that my super prince can say some things like that.
The great and the good lined up to thank and pay tribute to him, and many called for a knighthood, a suggestion he met at the time with typical humility and humour.
I think it would be absolutely enormous if I was knighted to be Sir Thomas Moore. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing before.
2 weeks later, with a #1 song, tens of thousands of birthday cards, the rank of honorary colonel, and an historic flypast, he had raised a record-breaking and breathtaking almost £33 million, and with gift aid it reached £40 million. Today's knighthood comes after a personal recommendation from the Prime Minister, whose statement reads, "On behalf of everyone who's been moved by his incredible story, I want to say a huge thank you. He's a true national treasure," he said. Arise, Sir Tom. John Maguire, BBC News, Bedfordshire.
We'll be speaking to the man himself really shortly here at Breakfast. Excuse me, you're going to have to carry on.
Oh, you're all right.
It's my breakfast, not anything else.
OK, in the last half hour, the Justice Secretary has told this programme he doesn't know if all primary schools in England will reopen to more pupils next month. Those comments come as the government faces increasing pressure from teaching unions and councils over safety. Let's get some detail from our political correspondent, Leila Nathu, who, as you can see, is in Westminster this morning. Good morning to you. I know you were listening carefully into what the Justice Secretary was saying, and schools remains the big issue for many people watching this morning.
Morning, Dan. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting acknowledgement from Robert Buckland earlier on the programme that actually the picture on June the 1st in England is likely to be patchy. Remember, there is a lot of opposition from certain councils, especially in the north of England, from education unions to this date of June the 1st. Some are opposed entirely on principle, on safety grounds, concerns about the ability for classrooms to socially distance, the questions about whether children are transmitters of the disease and concerns about whether a testing, tracking and tracing regime will be fully operational by then. Those concerns have been outlined to the government. A growing number of councils now, remember, local authorities govern most primary schools in England. So, you know, clearly some concerns now, but a recognition from the government that, yes, they want to get schools back on June the 1st. That was the target. The government saying it's important to have set that target. They're saying, look, remember the impact on the welfare and the education of children. Of course, it will also allow parents to get back to work. But I think interesting acknowledgement from Robert Buckland that it's not likely to be the same story across the country on June the 1st. Have a listen to what he said.
Well, look, it really depends upon the view of employers. You know, a lot of councils are direct employers of teaching staff. Their views are clearly very important. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that suddenly on the 1st of June, everything will be uniform. I don't know. It's my hope. But these conversations need to continue, and we need to listen very carefully to the concerns of employers and staff.
So I think it's going to be interesting come June the 1st, remember, under a fortnight away, that we're going to have variation across the nations of the UK, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland not intending to have any reopening of schools on that date. But now we're looking at having a lot of regional variation across England as well.
Layla, thank you very much. Really interesting to see your assessment of what the Justice Secretary was saying this morning on BBC Breakfast. He was with us at 7:30 this morning. Thank you.
The aeroplane engine manufacturer Rolls-Royce has announced it is cutting 9,000 jobs worldwide. Company boss Warren East said difficult decisions were needed to see the business through the coronavirus crisis as demand for air travel falls. Rolls-Royce employs over 23,000 people in the UK. Most of those are at its Derby engine plant. Consultations on job losses will start today, but the company hasn't given details of how many roles are at risk here.
3 more people have been arrested in connection with the death of a student killed in a shooting in Blackburn. Aya Hatcham, who was 19, was walking to a supermarket on Sunday afternoon when shots were fired from a passing car. Police don't believe she was the intended target of that attack. 2 men, aged 31 and 35, are being questioned on suspicion of murder. A 29-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender.
The law around organ donation in England is changing from today, and most adults will automatically be considered donors unless they opt out. It's estimated this could save an extra 700 lives each year. Adults and their families will still have a choice about which organs they would like to donate. The new law brings England into line with Wales, where the system was changed 5 years ago. Scotland's due to follow suit next spring, but an opt-in system remains in Northern Ireland.
So those are some of the main stories around on this Wednesday morning. I'm going to ask you to cast your mind back now, all the way to Good Friday, which seems like a long time ago. But that was when we first spoke to Captain Tom Moore, as he was then, on BBC Breakfast. His plan then was to try and raise £1,000 for the NHS. It was a plan that started at a family barbecue by walking 100 laps of his garden before he turned 100.
His ambition touched millions. His story was broadcast in homes around the world, and Tom raised a staggering £32 million with an extra £6 million donated through gift aid.
It's crazy amounts of money, isn't it? And now his achievements are being recognised with an incredible honour, a knighthood. The news came through at 10:30 last night. We've already spoken to some members of his family. Let's speak now this morning to the man himself, who is alongside his daughter Hannah. Captain Sir Tom Moore, good morning. Congratulations. How does it feel to be a Knight of the Realm this morning?
So how does it feel to be a Knight of the Realm this morning?
Well, I must say it's rather different. I mean, to get this honour is so outstanding that I really can't say how different I feel, but I certainly feel that I've been given a very outstanding honour by the Queen and the Prime Minister, and I thank them all very much. I'm certainly delighted, and I am overawed by the fact that this has happened to me.
And I understand that you knew because a letter arrived at home. When you first saw that letter, what did you think?
So the letter arrived, and when you first saw it, or when I first told you about it, what did you think?
I thought, this can't be true. This, I've always said this won't happen, and now it appears it actually have. But I certainly was never anticipating that letter would arrive for me.
I wanted an insight into family life, Hannah, because we were speaking to you about this earlier. We were speaking to Georgie and Benji. I know your grandchildren, obviously, and they were saying they still call you Grandad, but they might have a little joke about saluting you here and there. Now you are Sir as well. So they were talking to Benjamin and Georgia earlier and saying that, joking that they'd have to call you Sir Grandpa now. What do you think?
Well, that'll be the day, won't it? I don't think that's what they will be doing. It's a nice thought, but I'm sure they won't do that.
I know that that the money that is raised is going to help lots of people, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And you're also setting up a foundation. Tell us a little bit about it.
So you've now set up the foundation. Can you talk about some of the causes? Talk a little bit about that.
One of the reasons for for that, is that what you were ready to mean?
Yeah.
Well, there's one of the things that strikes me that is really necessary at the moment is for so many people, I feel, throughout the world are feeling lonely. I think they are feeling very much on their own, which is rather a shame, because there is certainly a bright future for everyone. But I think loneliness is something which we've got to look at very carefully.
And Hannah, I know this is a subject, the issue of loneliness, that Sir Tom, your dad, discussed with his late wife as well.
That's right. So can you recall when Mother was very poorly and she talked to you?
Yes, when my wife was in her home where she'd been for a long time, and I used to go and see her every day without fail. And one day she said to me, "You know, if you didn't come and see me, I would be very lonely."
That really has an impact, Hannah, you know, people hearing that, because at the moment as well, it's difficult for people to go and see people who might be lonely. So presumably that's a really kind of personal thing for you and your family.
I mean, it really is. I think that when you think of all the people who are so desperately isolated right now due to COVID, not just here but around the world, and those people who are desperately poorly with no one to be able to visit them, but the people who have been alone in their houses for weeks and weeks and weeks, it has a terrible impact on mental health and well-being, and it's something that's very close to our hearts.
Hannah, could you ask your dad, given that conversation that he had with his late wife, and how important that clearly was to her and to him, how amazing it must feel now to be able to raise all this money, which will then go to help people who find themselves in that similar situation?
Yeah, so recalling that something so personal as Mother feeling, you know, potentially lonely if you hadn't been with her, how does it feel now to start being able to raise some money to help those people who are feeling so desperately lonely?
Well, I think I feel inside, I feel very, very pleased and delighted that we can do something like that, because going back to the time when my wife was in hospital in the same place, there was lots of old people, mainly ladies, and they've been there for ages and ages, and no one ever came to see them. Year in and year out, not a soul came to see them. And I thought how soul-destroying it must be for those people, because it wasn't their fault, but not a soul came to see them.
Oh, it's heartbreaking, isn't it, to listen to that? And hopefully, Sir Tom, a change that you can make with this money, and you've got a lot to look forward to as well. The changes you'll be able to make to people's lives because of this money, and also at some stage, we're not sure entirely when, you'll actually get to receive this honour, hopefully from the Queen herself. What sort of a surprise will that be, and what a day that will be for you and the family?
So really looking forward to raising the money with the new foundation for things like loneliness. But thinking about your award, your honour from the Queen, how do you feel about the eventual day when you will be knighted by the Queen? How do you feel about that?
I'm looking forward to that. I hope she's not very heavy-handed with the sword, because by then I might be rather a poor old weak soul.
I hope she isn't as well. I'm sure she's very accustomed to looking after people. Also, Hannah, ask your dad. I'm not sure how many guests he's allowed to take. Has he chosen who they'll be yet?
I don't know how many guests he can take, so we don't know how many guests you can take yet, do we? We don't have any information. So they were saying, who would you take? But we don't know how many people you can take yet.
No, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I mean, I might find a lot of people might like to come with me.
I think everybody wants to come.
We might have to issue tickets.
Hannah, as you well know, they seem to have changed all the rules for your dad anyway in terms of giving out these knighthoods.
Who knows?
Hannah, I just wanted to put to you that point that we mentioned earlier when we spoke about an hour ago and see what your dad thinks about this, about that lovely message we had earlier, that it's never too late to make a difference. And here is your dad at 99 when he started and now 100 years old, bringing life and light to many people's lives around the UK and around the world and raising such an enormous amount of money.
So you have inspired people around the world and really engendered in everyone the feeling that it's never too late to start something new and make a difference. And people around the world are looking to you. What do you feel about that?
I think good for you. I mean, there's a future for everyone, and there's room for expansion in kindness throughout. Everybody has some kindness somewhere. Please expand your kindness to everyone that you possibly can. And as you're going out, give everybody a little smile and see if they'll smile back. Because this is something we might do a lot of good. Give everybody a little smile and see if you can get a smile back again.
That's a very good idea. I know that Hannah and Sir Tom, you're going to stay with us because we've got a few special guests, as always, with you. And we're going to hear a little bit about where the money's going to go to now. So let's talk to Ian Lush, who's chairman of NHS Charities Together, joins us from North London. I mean, first of all, Ian, it's a staggering amount of money. And where is it going to go?
So it's going to 240 charities around the country, all supporting NHS trusts, hospitals, community trusts, ambulance trusts. And the first tranche of money has already gone out to support frontline staff at this real time of crisis. And now we're planning for the future. So as well as improving staff facilities, we're also looking at the legacy of COVID-19 and the amazing amount of money that Sir Tom has raised and all the other fundraisers have helped us with will enable us to plan for helping staff who've had really traumatic times over the last few months, and also looking at what happens next in the whole planning cycle.
So it's already, Ian, making a difference?
It's already made a huge difference. We've already got £20 million to the front line, helping staff, also helping patients. You mentioned loneliness, but of course there's all these patients in hospital with COVID-19 not able to see their loved ones. And we provided tablet devices for a lot of them so that they can communicate with their families virtually, and that's made a huge difference as well.
And so, I mean, the thing there's so many things that are striking. Not only has he touched people's hearts, but I mean, actually really making a difference. I mean, it will go a long way, this money as well, won't it?
Yeah, it goes a huge way. And the thing is that it's broken every single fundraising record there's ever been. He's a Guinness World Record holder as well as a Knight of the Realm. And what's happened is that it's tapped into a public support of the NHS, and it's allowed us as NHS charities, so as I say, there's 240 around the country, to really reach into every part of the NHS. And so my charity, Imperial Health Charity, has benefited, and charities in every part of the UK. So that's been really, really exciting.
Ian Lush, thank you so much, Chairman of NHS Charities Together. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Hannah, I'm sure you were listening into that and relaying that to your dad as well. We've got a few extra guests coming in a moment, but isn't it brilliant to hear that money, millions of it, is already making a huge difference to people working in the NHS on the front line right now?
It's extraordinary. I mean, who could have imagined a few weeks ago that this could have such an impact and help so many people? We're just thrilled. It's just amazing to think that little walk has transformed people's lives.
And so, Tom, I mean, you know, we've talked to you all the way along, but £1,000 was what you wanted to raise, wasn't it?
So we've been talking to the BBC since the very beginning, and we had the target of £1,000 only. Right. So talk a little bit about that, about raising £1,000 and now being at 33 million.
Well, I think it's absolutely amazing. When we started, I did the first walk up and down here, and that was going to give me £1. And then I did it again and again, and it was decided that perhaps we might do a little bit better. And the aim, which really was, everybody's, if you walk and we'll try and pay. It was not a question of can you walk, it says you'll walk and we will pay. And that's how it started. And that's how I had to walk and walk and walk, and I did it with pleasure and without any hardship, because as it got on and on, the funds got better and better, and it just went on and on. It was absolutely, totally amazing, because not only was it in this country, but it seemed to go throughout the world. We got messages for I don't know how many countries. Hannah will tell you how many countries. It must have been something like 100 countries ranked and wanted to have a word with me, because of the sum that was being raised, and the fact that wherever it was, it seemed to have raised the spirits of so many different countries, which was absolutely amazing, and to me it was delightful.
It really did, Sir Tom. And amongst all that, you also had a #1 single. So have a listen. We've got a few messages more for you now, because over the last few weeks, you developed that really special friendship with Michael Ball, which led to the #1 spot with, fittingly, You'll Never Walk Alone. And Michael has a very special message for you this morning.
Tom, it's Michael, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I'm not surprised, because if anyone ever deserved a knighthood, it was you. But I'm so thrilled for you and so pleased, and I cannot wait to see you, to be able to say, Sir Tom Moore, I bloody love you. Well done, sir.
If that wasn't enough, oh, we love that message. The well done messages don't end there. So many people offering congratulations. We know how much you love Formula One, Sir Tom, as well. So just hold on a second while we're going to hear from Lewis Hamilton. Here we go.
Good morning, Tom. I hope you are well. I just wanted to send a huge congratulations on this incredible honour of being knighted. It is so well deserved. What you have done in bringing together a nation and inspiring so many and helping those that really need it most. Honestly, I'm in awe of you, and I just wanted to send you love and positivity. I hope that you get to enjoy this moment. God bless you, buddy. Take care.
Oh, a lovely message from Lewis Hamilton. We've got one more to play you as well, Sir Tom, but I wanted to get your reaction then to Michael Ball and hearing from, I know a man who you admire as well, Lewis Hamilton.
So Michael Ball sent you that message, yes, and then Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
So what's your messages back?
What to both of them? Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm absolutely overawed by the fact, speaking to people like you. I mean, Michael and I, we seem to be songsters. Mainly him. I mean, I was maybe a little bit in the background. And for Lewis, you are one of my heroes. I'm so disappointed that you'll not be able to race at the present time. I hope maybe before the end of the season, you'll be showing us how to sit on or stand on the podium again.
Well, maybe you can stand with him. That would be nice, wouldn't it? You're also, we know, a huge cricket fan, even an honorary member of the England team, we know. And Sir Andrew Strauss has some advice for a fellow cricketer receiving a knighthood. Here's his message.
Hi, it's Andrew Strauss speaking here. I believe I'm speaking on behalf of the whole nation when I say a huge congratulations to Captain Tom for receiving your knighthood today. It is richly deserved. We are without doubt going through extraordinary times as a country, and no one encapsulates that willingness to meet the challenge head on and to ensure that something good comes out of this period more than yourself. You have had an incredible impact on this country over the last few weeks, and that is why you are so deserving of this honour, and so many people are absolutely blown away by what you've done.
Thank you so much for that, Andrew Strauss. And so, Tom, we've got another surprise for you this morning. Louise mentioned you loved your cricket. We also are joined live on BBC Breakfast this morning by another Knight of the Realm. Sir Ian Botham is here. Now, hopefully we can make this technically work. Sir Ian, lovely to have you on the show. If you would like to give a message to Sir Tom live, Hannah will be able to relay it, and hopefully you can have some sort of conversation together. So, Sir Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Tom and Hannah. We've had a really hard time those last few weeks, few months, and maybe more to come yet. But I think one thing that made us all get up in the mornings and turn our television on was to see how far you'd gone and how much you'd raised. An amazing effort. And I think in hard times, the country needs something like that to inspire them. So I think what you've achieved it goes way beyond the money. I think you look at every household, everybody knows who Sir Tom is now.
So Ian Botham said it's been amazing, and everybody in every household knows who Sir Tom is now, but he's live, so you can talk to him.
Yeah, and that's very kind of you to say that. I got a new, but somebody gave me a lovely bat, so I'll get it cleaned up and maybe oiled, and then maybe in some time I can have a little batting opposite to you. That'd be lovely.
It'd be my pleasure, Tom, my absolute pleasure. I haven't played cricket since I resigned and retired and threw everything away in '93. So, yeah, why not? I don't think I've got a bat. I might have to borrow yours.
He said he might have to borrow your bat.
Well, fine, never mind. But let's hope it won't be very long, that soon you'll be out there on the crease getting another century and maybe a bit more. Looking forward to you doing that.
Yeah, I think you might have a long wait on that one, Tom. But you know, I think what you've achieved is remarkable and an inspiration to the whole country. And you know, when you have situations like this, people need something to get hold of and to jump on and enjoy. And to be honest with you, and be part of it. And I think what you've done is an amazing feat, and done a little bit of walking myself, but not at 99 going on 100. I've got to get there first. But all I can say is a remarkable effort, Tom, and I'm very, very proud of you. And if anyone deserves the award, you do. And I can assure you, Tom, the Queen will be very gentle.
He said he can assure you that the Queen will be very gentle when she places her sword.
Oh, let's hope so. I won't be able to remind her what you said, I wouldn't, but I'll hope that she'd listen to what you said.
Ian, just to come back to you, and you said you're no stranger to a walk there. You've raised millions of pounds yourself. I'm sure you appreciate the effort that's gone into your walks over the years, and to see the public interest in what Sir Tom managed to do to raise such a vast amount of money, but such a simple idea.
Simple, but it took every morning you have to get up and you have to do it. And I can't believe how difficult that would be at Tom's age. So forget what we did. You know, we were young and fit in those days. But what Tom has achieved is it's an inspiration to a lot of people out there. You know, there's a lot of people get depressed in times like this, and a lot of people, you know, children in the rooms, and the amount of children that are now walking. You know, we're doing a virtual walk thing, and children are signing on to do it, young children. And I think that's all through the inspiration of Sir Tom. And I think that the praise, the words don't, you can't, there's too many things you can say that are marvellous. It's just an amazing effort, and one that I think makes the whole country very proud.
Well, Sir Ian Botham, thank you very much for saying that to the brand new captain, Sir Tom Moore, this morning. Really appreciate your time on Breakfast. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you, Sir Ian.
And we're going to continue this conversation. During the Second World War, Captain Tom served in Burma and India, and we can hear now about his achievements, maybe inspiring future generations of the armed forces. We're joined by Lieutenant Colonel Richard Hall, who joins us from Harrogate. Morning to you. First of all, you might want to pass on your congratulations. What would you like to say to Sir Tom?
I do. Congratulations indeed. We are, as an armed forces community, genuinely thrilled with the news this morning. And it's great to see how quickly this award came about. It's a very popular choice, as we've heard this morning. But Sir Tom's unifying effect continues, not just from his fundraising, but to be recognised by the Prime Minister and then the Queen in this way. I'm sure there are people waking up this morning, opening their newspapers and turning on the news. It's bringing a smile to their face, and they're just thinking, yeah, go on, old boy, keep going. It's fantastic. And
has he been an inspiration as well to those in the armed forces?
He absolutely has. I mean, I command the Army Foundation College up here in Harrogate. So we've got 1,300 trainees going through basic training at the moment. And he's been a genuine inspiration to them. They're at home right now. And as Sir was saying, young people taking on these challenges, almost mirroring what he's been doing. I'm hearing all sorts of stories about half marathons and burpee challenges. I think Sir Tom's probably having as much an effect as some of these online fitness programs at the moment. It's phenomenal.
So are you effectively saying he's the Joe Wicks?
He's the new Joe Wicks of the nation.
It's lovely to speak to you. Hannah, just let's pick up some of those thoughts as well, because it's quite something to sort of, get the money donated. It goes to great charities, but also inspiring, young people to get out there and do other things. How does Sir Tom feel about that?
So obviously we're talking about great sums of money and what an inspiration it's been, but you have been inspiring young people around the country and around the world. How do you feel about that?
I think that I'm delighted because I might be old, but I'm still a great advocate of young people, because they are our future. They are going to be the future generation, and I'm delighted that some of them are showing to be absolutely the top grade, and I'm sure that they can all be the same. And because it is essential that the young people look ahead and realise that they have an enormous future, because really you are the future of this country.
And Hannah, can I ask you what the family have got planned for today? This all started with a family barbecue and a joke about doing 100 laps of the garden. So how are you celebrating on your own today once all the cameras and all the paraphernalia is gone?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of time before before we're left to our own devices again. Tom's schedule is quite busy this morning. We're speaking to Dubai and Russia, and actually I can't remember who else today, but a few. I think it will be this afternoon when we have some time to reflect. But we are in a wonderful golden bubble of joy right now. We really are.
And I just asked Sir Tom, if you would, what would be his favourite tipple to celebrate? Is it a cup of tea or what is it?
What would be your favourite tipple to celebrate? Would it be a cup of tea or a gin or a whiskey or a champagne?
Well, people keep asking me about that. I think I'm going to keep that a guarded secret as to what. Otherwise, you might find that everybody decides to do the same, and that might cause trouble amongst the suppliers. So I'll think about it. But when I spent a lot of time in India, one of the things that we did have was called John Collins. So maybe I'll have a John Collins, if you know what that is.
Right.
I expect they're on their way to you.
Yes, one final one. I just wondered, Hannah, whether your dad's going to celebrate with a walk today, or is he having the day off?
Are you going to do any walking today, or are you going to take a bit of time off?
No, I shall do. I did a little bit walking yesterday, and I shall do a bit today. That's if I can walk and get rid of all the cameras and things that are in my way.
I just thank the Lieutenant Colonel, and just one final question for you, Sir Tom, and we will let you. I promise we'll let you go and get on with everything. So one final question to you: what is on this beautiful sunny day, on the day that you've been given a knighthood? What is your final message to everybody who's watching and been taking part in all of this?
So it's our last question. When you look to the camera and the British public, what's your final message to everyone who's been so supportive and so generous and so kind?
I say thank you very much to all of you who have been so generous, and because the cause has been such a good one. But I really do thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you have been absolutely outstanding. Never ever did I anticipate that I should get such kindness from so many people, and thank you all very, very much.
You're an amazing man, Captain Sir Thomas Moore. Real pleasure to share a bit of your morning with you. Have a great day. Congratulations. Hannah, as ever, please pass on our thanks to the rest of the family as well. It's been lovely to spend the morning with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Give us a thumbs up.
It's always a pleasure. Thumbs up from the new Knight of the Realm. And what did he say earlier? Give a little smile, and hopefully you'll get a little smile back. That's a wonderful thing to take this morning away with you.
Thank you so much.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.